The Lord never tires of forgiving. It is we who tire of asking for forgiveness. A little bit of mercy makes the world less cold and more just. Too often we participate in the globalization of indifference. May we strive instead to live global solidarity. Let us care for one another and let us be loving custodians of creation. Kindness is firm and persevering intention to always will the good of others, even the unfriendly. We must restore hope to young people, help the old, be open to the future, spread love, be poor among the poor. We need to include the excluded and preach peace. We will never be disillusioned or lose our way if we are guided by God. We all have the duty to do good. Grace is not part of consciousness. It is the amount of light in our souls, not knowledge nor reason. The earth, our home, is beginning to look more and more like an immense pile of filth. In many parts of the planet, the elderly lament that once beautiful landscapes are now covered with rubbish. We received this world as an inheritance from past generations, but also as a loan from future generations, to whom we will have to return it. Our common home is being pillaged, laid waste and harmed with impunity. Cowardice in defending it is a grave scene. We must never forget that the natural environment is a collective good, the patrimony of all humanity and the responsibility of everyone. God always forgives. We men forgive sometimes, but nature never forgives. If you give her a slap, she will give you one. I believe that we have exploited nature too much. As stewards of God's creation, we are called to make the earth a beautiful garden for the human family. When we destroy our forests, ravage our soil, and pollute our seas, we betray that noble calling. A Christian who doesn't safeguard creation, who doesn't make it flourish, is a Christian who isn't concerned with God's work, that work born of God's love for us. May the relationship between man and nature not be driven by greed, to manipulate and exploit, but may the divine harmony between beings and creation be conserved in the logic of respect and care. Dear young people, do not be afraid of making decisive choices in life. Have faith. The Lord will not abandon you. From my point of view, God is the light that illuminates the darkness, even if it does not dissolve it, and a spark of divine light is within each of us. Although the life of a person is inal and full of thorns and weeds, there is always a space in which the good seed can grow. You have to trust God. Let us pray for peace, peace in the world and in each of our hearts. God's love calls us to move beyond fear. We ask God for the courage to put on faith, hope, and love as we go out into the world and become the Word in body as well as spirit. Life is a journey. When we stop, things don't go right. We must always walk in the presence of the Lord, in the light of the Lord, always trying to live in an irreprehensible way. Solidarity, as a moral virtue and social attitude born of personal conversion, calls for commitment on the part of those responsible for education and formation. It is impossible for peace to exist without dialogue. All the wars, all the strife, all the unsolved problems over which we clash are due to a lack of dialogue. When there is a problem, talk. This makes peace. Grace is not part of consciousness. It is the amount of light in our souls, not knowledge nor reason. It's hypocrisy to call yourself a Christian and chase away a refugee or someone seeking help, someone who is hungry or thirsty. Toss out someone who is in need of my help. If I say I am Christian, but do these things, I'm a hypocrite. The faith we proclaim tonight makes us see God present in all those situations where we think He is absent. He is present in the unwelcomed visitor, often unrecognizable, who walks through our cities and our neighborhoods, who travels on our buses and knocks on our doors. This is important. To get to know people, listen, expand the circle of ideas. The world is crisscrossed by roads that come closer together and move apart. But the important thing is that they lead towards the good. Openness to God makes us open towards the marginalized of this world and gives us the courage to leave the confines of our own security and comfort to become bruised, hurting and dirty as we joyfully approach the suffering other in a spirit of solidarity. Even in the developed world, the effects of unjust structures and actions are all too apparent. Our efforts must aim at restoring hope, righting wrongs, maintaining commitments, and thus promoting the well-being of individuals and of peoples. Solidarity, as a moral virtue and social attitude born of personal conversion, calls for commitment on the part of those responsible for education and formation. Dialogue, in fact, educates when the person relates with respect, esteem, and sincere listening, and is expressed with authenticity without obscuring or softening one's own identity, nourished by evangelical inspiration. Education is not about knowing things or taking lessons, but about being able to use three lingos, those of the head, the heart, and the hands, learning so that you can think about what you feel and do, can feel what you think and do, and can do what you feel and think. Unity within a person. The media only writes about the sinners and the scandals, he said, but that's normal, because a tree that falls makes more noise than a forest that grows. I prefer a church which is bruised, hurting and dirty because it has been out on the streets, rather than a church which is unhealthy from being confined and from clinging to its own security. No one can grow if he does not accept his smallness. God never tires of forgiving us. We are the ones who tire of seeking His mercy. It is not progressive to try to resolve problems by eliminating a human life.